Okay, we go to France, to my home country of Canada, and this is a film called Adoration. And it's a film directed by the most revered and most famous director of Canadian films in the world, Atom Egoyan. Perhaps in terms of Canadian-born directors, only Norman Jewison is more appreciated and famous. And it's and this movie is quite an unorganized mess, but it's an unorganized mess that I still enjoyed for the most part, and still had some really valid points to make. Now, the synopsis is about as complicated as, well, most Agoyan films, as a student, played by Devin Bostick, named Simon, turns a story of forbidden love in the Middle East, involving even hints of terrorism, into a first-person account for a report in school. Now, despite the confusion that this movie sparks, as a story, I think I started to understand it more so after I left the theater and really thought about it. And maybe that the confusion was really the whole point that this film was trying to get across. This isn't like limits of control type confusion. This is a movie about a confused person and confused people. That being the student named Simon. Now, the story that Simon has written is derived from a real life story that actually happened, but not to him, as he uses his parents as the central characters who, in real life, are now dead. Now, and the issue generates a weird kind of interest from a drama teacher played by Agoyan's real life wife, Arsene Kanjian. Sorry if I pronounced her name wrong. And the story leaks out in an internet chat room, and that's where things really take a dramatic turn in this film. The movie was interesting because I'd always heard stories about how Muslims were perceived in the U.S., obviously due to 9/11 and the impending wars that later followed. But this really got me thinking about the reaction of Canadian people, how we perceive the issues in the Middle East as well as the people. The film was very confusing, but yet in a weird way, I still managed to get something from it. Now, Scott Speedman, who most of you know from the first two Underworld films, delivers his best performance since 2003's My Life Without Me, another Canadian film, and he does a tremendous job here playing Simon's uncle. Egoyan's films always provoke thought, there's no question about that, but unlike the film I reviewed before this one, I find many of his films to be slightly pretentious. As Peter Griffin of Family Guy would say, they just really insist upon themselves. Make no mistake about it, Egoyan is an excellent director, and He's made a lot of films that I've liked a lot. Most notably, 1994's Exotica, and then what is probably his best film to date, 1997's The Sweet Hereafter. But I actually truly believe Egoyan still hasn't given us his best film. He's 48, going on 49 in July, and showing no signs of stopping. I'm actually looking forward to his upcoming film entitled Chloe, coming out later this year, which features Liam Neeson, Amanda Seyfried, Julianne Moore, and Nina Dobrev. But however, as it relates to this film, I give this one, for what it is, 3 stars out of 5.